My dear brothers and sisters, tests are not punishments, they are messages. When Allah loves a servant, He refines them through trials. But every test has an expiry date. Allah never tests endlessly. When certain changes begin to appear in your life, it is a powerful indication that Allah is closing one chapter and opening another. Sometimes the first sign is inner strength. You are still facing difficulty, yet your heart is calmer than before. What once broke you no longer destroys you. This strength is not from you, it is from Allah. When Allah gives you sabr without you begging for it, understand that relief is near. At times, Allah removes people from your life. It hurts, it confuses you, and it leaves you questioning everything. But understand this clearly, Allah never takes something away unless it was blocking your growth. When people who cause pain, distraction, or sin quietly disappear, Allah is cleaning your path before granting ease. Then there comes a moment when your dua changes. You stop begging desperately and start trusting completely. You say, Ya Allah, I leave it to you. That surrender is powerful. The moment your heart relies fully on Allah, the test loses its purpose because it has already taught you what it was meant to teach. Another sign is gratitude during hardship. You still struggle, yet you say Alhamdulillah. Not because everything is perfect, but because you now see Allah in everything. Gratitude in pain is a sign of spiritual elevation, and Allah does not leave such a heart unrewarded. Sometimes opportunities appear unexpectedly. A door opens where you saw only walls. Help comes from a place you never imagined. This is Allah showing you that He was in control all along, even when you thought nothing was changing. And finally, you feel a renewed closeness to Allah. Salah becomes comfort, not burden. Dua becomes conversation, not complaint. When a test brings you closer to Allah, that test has already succeeded, and Allah replaces it with ease. My dear brothers and sisters, understand this truth deeply and let it settle in your heart. Tests are not a sign that Allah has turned away from you. Rather, they are a sign that Allah is paying attention to you. Many people mistakenly believe that ease means love and hardship means rejection. But this is not the way of Allah. If hardship were a sign of being unloved, then the most beloved servants of Allah would have lived the easiest lives. Yet history teaches us the opposite. The most righteous people were tested in ways that would shake mountains. Not because Allah disliked them, but because Allah was elevating them. When Allah places you in a test, He is not trying to break you, He is shaping you. Every difficulty carries a lesson. Every delay carries wisdom. And every tear you shed is counted. Allah sees the patience you show when no one else notices. He hears the dua you whisper when your voice is too tired to speak loudly. He knows the struggle inside your chest even when your face smiles in front of the world. If Allah had abandoned you, He would have left you careless, distant and disconnected. But the fact that your heart still turns toward Him in pain is proof that He is close. Sometimes Allah tests you to wake you up. When life becomes too comfortable, the heart can forget its purpose. A test shakes you, reminds you of your weakness and pulls you back toward Allah. This is not cruelty, this is mercy. Allah would rather disturb your comfort than allow you to lose your soul. That disturbance is a form of divine care. It is Allah saying, come back to me, I am enough for you. At other times, Allah tests you to cleanse you. Every hardship wipes away sins, polishes the heart, and purifies intentions. You may not see the benefit immediately, but nothing is wasted with Allah. That pain you are carrying may be the very reason Allah protects you from a far greater harm. That delay you hate may be saving you from a regret you would not survive. When Allah withholds something, it is often because what He is preparing is better, purer, and more lasting. Understand also that Allah tests those He wants to raise. Without pressure, diamonds are not formed. Without storms, trees do not grow strong roots. In the same way, without trials, faith remains shallow. Allah wants depth in your faith, not weakness. He wants a heart that knows Him in darkness as well as in light. That depth cannot be achieved through ease alone. So when you feel stretched beyond your limits, remind yourself that Allah is expanding your capacity, not punishing you. If Allah had no concern for you, He would let you drift comfortably in sin and forgetfulness. He would allow you to live without reflection, without prayer, without return. But when Allah loves a servant, He brings them back, even if it hurts. That pain is guidance wearing the clothes of hardship. That struggle is mercy disguised as difficulty. So do not say, why me? Say, what is Allah teaching me? Do not assume silence means rejection. Allah is working in ways you cannot yet see. Your test is proof that Allah is shaping your destiny with care, attention, and wisdom. And when the lesson is complete, when your heart has learned what it needs to learn, Allah will open doors that will make you forget the pain you once thought would never end. My dear brothers and sisters, there comes a stage in every trial where something within you quietly changes. The situation around you may remain difficult. The problem may still exist. And the answer may not yet be visible. But your heart is no longer drowning the way it once was. This inner peace, this unexpected calm in the middle of hardship, is not normal strength. It is a gift placed in your heart by Allah. When panic is replaced by patience, when fear is replaced by trust, and when tears are replaced by quiet acceptance, know that Allah is signaling that the storm is nearing its end. At the beginning of every test, the heart reacts with shock. You question, you worry, you feel overwhelmed. Sleep becomes difficult, the mind runs endlessly, and the heart feels heavy. But over time, something softens. You still feel the pain, yet it no longer controls you. You wake up, face your responsibilities, and move forward, even when the answers are unclear. This is not because the problem became smaller. It is because Allah made you stronger. And Allah does not strengthen a servant in this way unless He is preparing them for relief. This calm is a sign that Allah has accepted your struggle. When Allah sees that you have done everything within your capacity, made dua, exercised patience, stayed away from despair, He places sakina in your heart. This tranquility is a form of reassurance from Allah, as if He is telling you, do not be afraid, I am with you. The heart that once trembled now stands steady, and that steadiness is proof that Allah has taken over what you can no longer carry. Inner peace during hardship also shows that your reliance has shifted. Earlier, you may have relied on people, plans, or outcomes. Now, you rely on Allah alone. When that shift happens, the burden feels lighter, even if the test remains. You realize that the weight was never the problem itself. It was carrying it without complete trust in Allah. Once you hand it over to Him, your heart finds rest. This calm is not laziness or giving up. It is clarity. You stop fighting what is beyond your control and focus on what pleases Allah. You still work, you still try, but without desperation. You no longer beg people for understanding. You turn to Allah knowing He understands completely. This level of maturity in faith is not achieved without struggle. And Allah does not allow it to remain unrewarded. Sometimes Allah delays relief until your heart reaches this point of peace. Why? Because if relief came earlier, you might forget the lesson. But when peace arrives before the solution, it means the lesson has been learned. Your heart has grown. Your faith has deepened. Your patience has matured. At this stage, even if the test continues for a while, it no longer damages you. It no longer breaks your spirit. And this is why inner peace is one of the strongest signs that relief is approaching. Allah first fixes the heart, then He changes the situation. Because when the heart is calm, you are ready to receive the blessing without arrogance, without attachment, and without forgetting Allah again. When you feel that calm settling within you despite the hardship, do not underestimate it. It is a silent message from Allah that He has not left you, that He has heard every dua, and that ease is already on its way, even if you cannot yet see it. My dear brothers and sisters, one of the most painful experiences in life is when people are removed from your journey without explanation. Relationships fade, connections break, and those you once trusted may walk away, leaving your heart confused and wounded. At first, it feels like loss, rejection, or even injustice. You replay memories, question your worth, and wonder what you did wrong. But understand this clearly. Not every departure is a punishment. Very often, it is divine protection. When Allah removes certain people from your life, He's not emptying your world, He is clearing your path. Some people enter your life for a season, not a lifetime. They play a role, teach a lesson, and then their time ends. When Allah sees that a person has begun to distract you, drain you, or pull you away from what is good for your soul, He gently or sometimes suddenly removes them. You may not see the harm they were causing while they were present, because attachment can blind the heart, but Allah sees what you cannot. He sees the future damage, the emotional wounds, the spiritual decline, and the delays they would bring into your life. At times, Allah removes people who were comfortable for you, not because they were good for you, but because they were familiar. Comfort does not always mean growth. Some relationships keep you stuck in old habits, old mindsets, and old sins. They feel safe, but they stop you from evolving. When Allah wants to raise you, He removes what keeps you small. That removal hurts because growth is uncomfortable, but stagnation is far more dangerous. There are also moments when Allah separates you from people who caused pain, betrayal, or confusion. You may ask why Allah allowed them into your life in the first place. The answer is simple. Every experience shapes you. Through them, you learn boundaries, strength, patience, and reliance on Allah. Once the lesson is complete, Allah closes that door. Keeping it open would only reopen wounds and delay healing. Allah does not want you to keep bleeding from the same place. Sometimes people leave quietly. No arguments, no closure, no clear reason. This kind of ending is especially hard because the heart seeks answers, but silence itself can be an answer. Allah is teaching you to find closure with Him, not with people. When you learn to let go without understanding everything, your heart becomes lighter and more resilient. Understand also that Allah removes people to make room for better ones. You cannot hold what is new while clinging to what has expired. When Allah plans to bring healthier relationships, sincere support, and genuine love into your life, He first clears the space. If He did not, you would compare, doubt, or remain attached to what no longer serves you. Most importantly, when Allah removes people, He is drawing you closer to Himself. When reliance on creation is broken, reliance on the Creator grows. You turn to Allah with a heart that has been humbled, softened, and purified. That closeness is more valuable than any relationship you lost. So do not beg what Allah has removed to return. Do not chase doors Allah Himself has closed. Trust that every separation is guided by wisdom. One day, you will look back and realize that what felt like loss was actually rescue, and what broke your heart was the very thing that saved your soul and prepared you for a better, more peaceful chapter ahead. My dear brothers and sisters, there comes a powerful moment in every believer's life when the heart reaches a place of complete surrender. This is the moment when you stop fighting what you cannot control and place it entirely in the hands of Allah. Not because you are weak, but because you finally understand where true strength lies. This level of trust is not achieved overnight. It is born from exhaustion, patience, tears, and countless du'as that seem unanswered. Yet when this surrender arrives, it signals that the test has already fulfilled its purpose. At the beginning of hardship, the heart desperately searches for solutions. You plan, you worry, you calculate every possibility. You replay conversations, imagine outcomes, and burden yourself with what-ifs. Your reliance is divided partly on Allah and partly on your own understanding. But as time passes, you realize that no amount of overthinking can change what Allah has decreed. Slowly, the heart releases control. You still take action, but without panic. You still make dua, but without desperation. This shift is a sign of maturity in faith. When you say from the depth of your heart, Ya Allah, I leave this with you, something remarkable happens. The test loses its power over you. Fear weakens, anxiety softens, and peace begins to replace chaos. This is because Allah never burdens a heart that truly relies on Him. Complete trust is not passive, it is active faith. You do your part, but you leave the outcome to Allah, knowing that His plan is always better than your expectations. This surrender pleases Allah immensely. Why? Because it reflects true tawakkul. It means you accept Allah's wisdom even when you do not understand it. You believe that delays are not denials, and that silence does not mean neglect. When Allah sees this level of trust, the lesson of the test is complete. The heart has learned reliance, humility, and patience, all qualities Allah loves. Many people remain trapped in tests because they refuse to let go. They argue with destiny, resist reality, and demand outcomes on their own terms. But when you stop resisting and start trusting, you align yourself with divine wisdom. At that point, the hardship no longer needs to remain. The test was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to teach you surrender. Complete trust also frees the heart from bitterness. You stop blaming people, circumstances, and even yourself. You understand that everything happens by the permission of Allah. This understanding does not make you careless. It makes you peaceful. You accept what is written while continuing to strive in what is allowed. That balance is the essence of strong faith. When Allah sees that you are no longer attached to a specific outcome, He opens doors you never expected. Sometimes relief comes exactly as you hoped, and sometimes it comes in a form far better than you imagined. But either way, your heart is ready to receive it without arrogance, fear, or forgetfulness. So if you feel that you have reached a point where you can say with sincerity, Allah is enough for me, then know that this is not defeat, it is victory. It is the moment your test has taught you its final lesson. And when that lesson is learned, Allah in His mercy replaces hardship with ease at a time that is perfect, precise, and filled with blessings you could never have planned on your own. My dear brothers and sisters, there is a level of faith that is rare and powerful. And it appears when a believer learns to say Alhamdulillah even while the heart is hurting. This is not the gratitude of ease, this is the gratitude of trust. When a person thanks Allah in the middle of pain, it shows that their heart has risen above the situation and connected itself to the wisdom of Allah. Such gratitude is not weakness, nor is it denial of pain. It is clarity. It is the understanding that Allah's mercy is present even when life feels heavy. At the beginning of hardship, gratitude feels impossible. The heart asks, what is there to be thankful for? Pain clouds vision and suffering narrows perspective. But as faith deepens, something changes. You begin to recognize that even in difficulty, Allah has not taken everything away. You still have iman, breath, time, and the ability to turn back to Him. That realization alone becomes a source of gratitude. And when gratitude appears in hardship, it signals spiritual elevation. Allah promises increase for those who are grateful, but this increase is not always immediate or material. Sometimes the increase comes in the form of peace, resilience, and strength. A grateful heart in pain is protected from despair. It does not fall into hopelessness or resentment. Instead, it remains connected to Allah, trusting that every moment carries purpose. This connection invites mercy, because Allah loves a servant who recognizes Him in all states. Gratitude in hardship also transforms how pain affects you. Instead of breaking your spirit, it aligns it. You stop seeing yourself as a victim and start seeing yourself as a servant being guided. You realize that this test is not meant to define you, but to elevate you. This mindset does not remove the pain, but it removes the poison from the pain. It prevents bitterness from taking root in the heart. When Allah sees gratitude in suffering, He knows that the heart has understood the lesson. The test is no longer needed to humble you, because humility has already been achieved. It is no longer needed to remind you of Allah, because you remember Him willingly. At this point, hardship has served its purpose. And when a test has fulfilled its purpose, Allah replaces it with relief, sometimes suddenly, sometimes gradually, but always perfectly timed. Gratitude also protects future blessings. If relief came without gratitude, it might lead to arrogance or forgetfulness. But when a heart learns to thank Allah in pain, it will remember Him even more in ease. This is the kind of heart Allah prepares for lasting blessings. A grateful servant does not lose Allah after receiving what they ask for. Sometimes Allah delays relief just long enough for gratitude to appear. Once it does, it becomes a sign that the heart is ready to receive, ready to handle, and ready to remain connected. That is why gratitude in hardship is not small in the sight of Allah. It is enormous. It is a declaration of faith that says, Ya Allah, I trust you even when I do not understand. So if you find yourself saying Alhamdulillah through tears, know that Allah sees you. That gratitude is raising your rank, erasing sins, and pulling mercy toward you. It is a powerful sign that your heart has reached a level of awareness that turns pain into purification and hardship into a doorway toward divine closeness and coming ease. My dear brothers and sisters, among the clearest signs that a trial is nearing its ends is a sudden and sincere closeness to Allah that feels deeper than ever before. When hardship pushes you toward Allah instead of away from Him, it has already served its greatest purpose. Many people turn to Allah only when life becomes difficult, but when a test transforms that turning into consistency, love and comfort, it means the heart has been reshaped in the most beautiful way. At the beginning of a test, worship can feel heavy. Salah may be rushed, dua may sound like complaint, and the heart may feel distant despite effort. Pain creates noise inside the soul. But as time passes and patience grows, that noise begins to quiet. Salah becomes a place of rest rather than obligation. You stand before Allah not only to ask for relief, but because being close to Him soothes your heart. This shift is powerful. It shows that the relationship with Allah is no longer based on need alone, but on connection. When a trial brings you closer to Allah, your priorities change. The things that once distracted you lose their attraction. You become more aware of your actions, your words, and your intentions. You start guarding your prayers, watching your character, and caring about what pleases Allah. This awareness is not fear-driven, it is love-driven. And Allah does not allow a heart that draws near to Him in sincerity to remain in prolonged hardship. Closeness to Allah also changes the way you make dua. You stop repeating the same desperate words and start speaking honestly from the heart. Dua becomes a conversation, not a list of demands. You feel heard even before the answer arrives. That feeling itself is a mercy. It means Allah has opened a door between you and Him that was perhaps closed or neglected before the test. When Allah becomes your comfort, the world loses its power over you. You no longer measure happiness by outcomes alone. Even if the situation has not changed yet, your heart feels full. This fullness is not from people, success or solutions. It is from Allah. And when Allah fills the heart, the test no longer needs to remain as a reminder. Many trials exist only to bring a servant back to Allah. Once that return is complete, there is no reason for the hardship to continue. Allah is most merciful. He does not prolong pain unnecessarily. If the test has made you more mindful, more sincere and more connected, then understand that His job is done. This closeness also protects you after the test ends. When relief comes, you are less likely to forget Allah because you have tasted the sweetness of nearness. You know what it feels like to depend on Him, to speak to Him, and to find peace with Him. That awareness stays, and it becomes one of the greatest gifts of the hardship you endured. So if you feel that Allah is closer to you now than ever before, do not overlook it. That closeness is not accidental. It is a sign of divine attention and acceptance. It is Allah drawing you near, healing you from within, and preparing you for ease. When a test brings you closer to Allah, it is not a sign of loss. It is a sign of success, transformation, and the quiet ending of a difficult chapter in your life.